This is Sid. I love this picture. She's looking up at my niece. But she was a number of different things. She was super fierce and intense, but she was crazy sweet. And that's a great picture of her sweetness. The process was, I first started seeing her back end slow down. And she had lived a hard life, so, you know, I thought, okay, she's starting to really slow down now, but this is heading towards being bad. I thought it was probably more arthritic. But I started thinking about the years coming and whether or not her legs would keep moving. Then she went out running and got paralyzed because her slipped a disc. And she had to spend 2 weeks in the kennel with no one there except them, because he wanted to keep her really still to try to heal up that disc. So in those 14 days, that was a major transition. So she came back to the house and she was radically diminished from the tail end down, from not moving and from this spinal injury. And I started grieving then for just the part of her that was gone, which was this really robust, intense, powerful, physical dog. But I also knew we started walking and she would do these things where she flopped into the grass, really happily, but she flopped there and laid and looked around instead of continuing her walk. And there I started grieving deeper. And then her leg got real swollen. And they said, bring her in. And then it went right to aggressive cancer already in the leg. And, you know, she was quite diminished from the back injury. And she could barely walk anyways. So they were like, so we could start by taking the leg off, but I just knew she was not. It happened quick and it was coming, and then it hit and it was there. So knowing when to do it was more a matter of timing rather than if it was going to happen. About it, I intuitively just started moving into ceremony quickly as this was happening. So an altar began being built while she was still alive. She had a last meal right before she died, like half an hour before she passed. A good friend came out and helped me finish the grave. It was basically done, but Matthew came out and like worked the tail end of it with me. All these things, people came over to say goodbye to her. You know, we had a day where people came by that loved me and loved her, and we sat in the sun and had her do stuff and just hung out, and then another person would come, and then the altar would change. This is the altar, and it kept changing. It was a good passing. She wasn't in pain. She wasn't freaked out. Our doctor came right to us. Her mom was there. We just were working on her while she laid there. She didn't feel the injection, and I was talking to her and saying what I said to her a lot in life. When she'd get hurt, I'd say, Papa's here, Papa's here, Papa's here, it's all right. So I was whispering that to her and holding her head. I had been doing very, very intense grieving for her after her passing, almost all by myself, alone. And that's partly how I was grieving, these really intense pushings and just wailing and wailing, and then whoop, it would just stop, and I'd go, okay, that's done. And I'd start doing stuff, and then I'd walk, and then another wave would come. And I got to a point where it's like, Just do it, wait, then it passes, get back to doing whatever else you're going to be doing. One side is that a lot of grief is private, I think. The deepest stuff at times is really private. You, your heart, your lost one. Then of course we have societal, which I think there's such a profound energy in this country towards not acknowledging grief. I'm someone who shares and talks a lot. And so I've been talking out loud to people about it. And it's interesting, it's like I've never heard about it before, but as soon as I say it to someone, almost every single person is like, yeah, I did something like that when this person died or that person died. And a lot of it, they tend to be private about it, but not much dialogue. I mean, the stages of grief, I mean, you can read that and understand some part of it, but you don't understand this physical wailing or thinking maybe you're dying yourself, or tremendous guilt along with that physical energy, or waking up in a panic. Just a couple nights ago, I woke up. I was dreaming all night that Rosie had been lost for too long. And I'm like, wait a second. I was like, Rosie's been gone, like my living dog, the dog that's still with me. I'm like, she's been gone for like a day or something. Why aren't we finding her? She must be. And I had this big panic about her being gone. And that kept going on. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh, it's not Rosie, it's Sid. And I wasn't awake enough to have remembered how she passed. I just knew she was gone. So I just said, I think I said out loud, what took her, you know? Oh yeah, Sydney's gone. What took her? I'm like, oh yeah, cancer, you know? So it goes, you know, for who knows how long it goes for. But, and there are grief recovery, but I think a lot of people that go to that are just people who are really grieving and have made the decision to go reach out to someone. But the dialogue about what this is all about, and feeling it and moving through it and being really honest with it, and then opening to what it's opening you to, the comfort and the maturity of living with and without your beloved.